Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and I'm excited to share with you Gloomies. This is a 2 to 4 player strategy game that takes about an hour to play and has a lovely two-phase part to the game where in the first phase, players are essentially growing their flowers into this board right here, and then in the second phase, they are going to harvest those same flowers using the cards they played in phase 1. So let's take a look at everything, because this is the game that I got at the BGG at Sea cruise for my badge. This was given to us for free as part of our ticket. This game has some lovely appeal. I love this little bin you make and you put all of the flowers in. They have different designs, and they're nice wooden pieces, and they're really pretty. So you just keep them in their little tray right here. Players are going to have a board themselves that is the phase 1 side, and then they flip it over and there's a phase 2 side. It tells you exactly what to do on your turn and what you're scoring at the end of each phase, because there is a scoring at the end of phase 1 and at the end of phase 2. Out here is your board, and the cool thing about this is it's in the box. It's in the box itself. And these little discs are over here for bonuses, but this just comes out and you'll see that it has a different configuration for all the different flower possibilities and types. That has 4 chances out here for variety, and then you flip the board over and there's a whole new board. So if you put the board this way, this way, this way, and so forth, you're going to have a different experience playing, and so it adds a lot of variety. So you're going to put this out here with 3 discs in each of those holes for the bonuses. This is going to be the display for players. These are going to be these kind of contract cards that players can earn in phase 1 and then fill in phase 2. And up here are the flower cards, and you got some chits and stuff, some gloomies. So as player 1, I just get 4 cards, but I do get a gloomie to start with. These allow you to manipulate your turn in a very particular way. But you'll look at your cards, and as your card out here says, let's take a look at it. This says that on your turn, you're going to take up to 3 cards and you're going to place them into your flower type that it says here. And you are going to add them to 1 column on the main board that is shared. Then your last place flower, you'll go over to the side and you'll take a special disc and you'll apply that bonus and then flip it over to its teal side and put it on the other side of the board. And then you will draw cards from the display, 2 regular cards or 1 wild. That's what you get to do on your turn. So let's do it. I'm going to look at my cards and I'm going to say, where can I find? I'm going to try to save my wild. Wilds are really versatile. Where can I place something that does a pink, an orange, and a green? Right here. Okay, so I'll do the green and the pink and the orange right here. So I'm going to take this, I put 1 in, I put the pink one in, the pretty side up, and then I put the orange one in, and everyone goes, yep, those are the cards you played. I'll put them down here into their matching spaces, my white, my pink, and my orange. And then I will look at this line right here, take the bonus, which this says, take one of these cards right here. This is one of those contract cards. I'm going to flip it over to its teal side, and I will now take one of these. So let me look at this and say, this guy looks pretty cool. I just played a green, an orange, and a pink. This one's asking for a pink and an orange and 2 blue. So at the end of the game, if I can get those, at the end of the game, in phase 2, I can place them out here for more value than my personal player card, where you kind of put all your leftovers. But if I don't finish this, I don't get the points. So this card essentially is saved for later. I'm going to put it up here on my board, just out of the way, but within view, because I want to get a couple of these going into phase 2. Otherwise, I don't have any way to get victory points that are better than what my card says. So that's going to be it for the getting my bonus, which is step 2. Now step 3 is looking out here at these cards and seeing what could I get. Now I have a wild of a white, or I call it white because it looks white on here, but it's green. And then let's grab this blue. It replaces, and now I've got the choice of an orange or a white. I'm never allowed to take from the top of the deck. Now I can't take this one because you have to take just a wild by itself or 2 regulars. So I'm going to take, do I take the orange and maybe hope I can go here and go green for my wild, orange, and then blue, and then grab another one? I could take the white and go the, no, that's not blue. Oh yeah, green, blue, blue. I don't know which one I want to do. Let's go with this one. I'll take this guy, and then I'll flip this over, and it was blue. So that's going to be the end of my turn. Now, Gloomies you can use in one of two ways. If you want to play more than 3 cards on your turn out to get flowers, you pay 1 Gloomy for every extra card you want to play and put it over here. That's cool. If you want to save them and then you want to essentially draw more cards, I could pay this Gloomy right now and take this orange. 1 Gloomy for a regular card, 2 Gloomies for a wild. So let's say I did that and I used my Gloomy, and now next time I've got all these cards to play with, and I have a little bit of a contingency plan for this one or for this one. So now I'm done. That's going to be the end of my turn, and then my fellow player is going to go. On the side, you've got bonuses of a Gloomy, 2 Gloomies, getting a card, or getting one of these little Stardust kidney beans. So Stardust kidney beans are going to be scored based on this scale right here at the end of phase 1. If you get 1 point, 2, 3 points, 3 of them, 5 points, 4, 8, 5, 11, and 6 or more, 15. That's important because at the end of the game, you are going to, at the end of the game, I keep saying at the end, but essentially in phase 2, you're going to be doing that scale again. So it's really important to start working on those Stardust kidney beans. Extra Gloomies, going to give you 1 point at the end of the game. And this is where you just place your flowers if you don't have contracts, where you can't put the particular color on your contract. And so you get 1 point for greens. They're a little bit more common, all the way to 3 points for the pinks. They're more rare. And so let's talk about that second phase. So essentially, once this whole board let me do that. Once all the spaces under the white line have been filled up. Now you can go past the line at any point because you can still earn the bonus for getting your final flower in any of those particular rows. But once this is filled up, the end of the turn for that particular player who triggered it will score phase 1. Then phase 2 begins in its harvesting, and we will be taking flowers again from the arrows in one column based on the flowers that we've got in our player area. Now, players also at the end of phase 1 will score based on the cards of each type. Now, this is really interesting. So if you've got 1 to 3 cards in the 4 types, each one of your cards that you've got down here underneath will give you 1 point. But if you get 4 or more in these particular colors, each card in the ones where you have 4 or more give you 2 times per card. So that's why you want to get particular types. If I get more whites or more oranges or more pinks, then I want to count those. So that's also in phase 1 before you move on to phase 2. You're going to take all your cards from phase 1, shuffle them up, and create a draw pile. And this draw pile will now become the cards you play with to remove these. And you're going to remove them the same way you do in the beginning, playing by up to 3 cards from your hand, or use a Gloomy to do more. And you'll take them out, and you'll be gaining the bonus that's in the teal side now. And so that's going to give you flower bonuses, or they're going to be giving you the Stardust kidney bean bonuses. Those are the only kinds of bonuses on the teal side. No more Gloomies, and no more contract cards. So you got to get those Gloomies and contracts that particular way. Now, if you choose not to play on your turn, you can also just say you're not playing a card and you're not getting a bonus. You're just taking a Gloomy and then doing step 3, which is by drawing cards from your open display in phase 1. You can do that as well. It's not the best turn, but it's also an option. So once all the flowers have been taken up to the dotted line and this whole area is empty, that triggers the end of phase 2. And you're going to get those flower points here. You're going to get flowers for your contracts that you have filled your dots onto. Gloomies give you 1, and then of course your Stardust kidney beans give you those scores. So this game has a variety of stages, which I really appreciate, but it's streamlined. Your turn is pretty fast. Play cards, play flowers, gain your bonus, collect your cards. It's pretty straightforward, and you're also building towards phase 2 so that you're prepared for phase 2. And that's by getting the right cards in your player area. So this has a lot of appeal. Again, the board, you can change it around, a lot of variety. I will say that sometimes the bonuses don't line up with your flower cards and you're really looking for a particular type of bonus and it's not available. And then when you take one, it reveals something else and then your fellow players go and nab that thing that you really wanted. And so there is a little bit of that kind of luck of those particular tiles. And there's also a little bit of luck with the cards. Let's say there are a couple of these wild cards out here. Now this is a rule for the game and it's a pretty harsh rule. So let's say you do this and you are looking at those cards out there and you say, well, I want the regular, I need that pink, I don't want this one. So you take it and you have one more regular card to draw on your turn and another wild comes up, you don't get another card. You never get a card from the top and you just have this one, which is kind of like half value for your turn because you can't take one of those guys. Now you can still pay 2 Gloomies to take a wild, but it really, really costs you a whole bunch of your turn. So there's that, and there's also those luck of the tiles that flip over. But it does go 2 to 4, and this is about an hour long. It is an abstract game. It's wholly abstract. There are some cute little critters out here, pretty flowers, but this is 100% abstract. So for me, it's a good game. It works. It has some nice features, but it's not necessarily the game that I'm like, raring to come back to. But I think it's a lovely game and put together quite well. There are some components that I think are better quality than others. The discs are great and thick. The board is nice and thick. These bits, really, really lovely. They're pretty and they're solid, but the cards are kind of flimsy. I think the cards are a little weak. They could have done a little bit better with the cards, and that means the flower cards, and it means the contract cards, and then the player boards. The Gloomies are nice and thick. The point chits are nice and thick. The cardboard on the little Stardust kidney beans, great. So it has a little bit of variety with the quality and the component types. So that's going to wrap up my review for Gloomies. Again, the game I got when I went to BGG at Sea this year. I will see you next time, folks. Bye.